this is the moment for you to show us what is real.
So it's been 20 years since the first Matrix, and why was this the right time to go ahead and return back to these characters?
I don't know. The right time is because it was the right time for the director and writer.
It's the right time for the director and writer. I mean, but what about you two? What was it like the first day back on set to sort of come back into this world?
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, we had had some time training. We trained for about 2 months before we got onto the set, which is really helpful. We did that with the other Matrix movies as well. We had a big training time. So we get this luxury of spending all this time together, working together. And then when you show up on set, there's already this foundation built in. But the first day that we both worked, we were in the same scene, but we just sort of crossed paths. And I thought it was a really gentle way. I felt like, I was glad it wasn't like a big scene. I just got to kind of get into her, walk by a few times, but it felt really good.
What about you, Keanu?
Yeah, it was wonderful to be there and to start.
So what did Lana say when you guys were coming back with these characters? I know we can't talk that much about what's going on, but where did she say Neo was in this moment where we sort of reached the film?
Yeah, she didn't. She kind of left that up to me in the sense that she didn't kind of download her whole perspective of the character and stuff. It was more about, here's the story, here's the script, and then, if I had any questions and stuff, she would answer them.
What about you, Carrie-Anne? It's a little bit, I think, different with Trinity this time around. I feel she's Trinity, but there's like so much more complexity, even more so than Neo. Did you guys talk about any of that? Like maybe that there's a little bit of a bigger shift with Trinity this time around?
I don't think we had that specific conversation. I mean, it's definitely on the page in her writing, but we didn't really have. She's not that kind of director to talk in that way. Mm-hmm. I don't exactly know how to describe it, but you really you want to give her what she has written on the page. You want to just bring that to life, and she really creates the environment for that to happen. We didn't have a lot of talks about it, to be honest.
Awesome. Well, I guess something you do have to talk a lot about is the fight scenes, because they're like these very intricate dances that you guys sort of do together. And Carrie-Anne, I'll start with you. If you can, going back into it, what was the most complicated scene? You don't have to give details on it, but like which one was it and how long did you guys prepare for it?
We prepared for like the 6 weeks or 8 weeks before we started shooting, and then we would continue training when we weren't shooting for things that were coming up. What was the most difficult? Is that what you asked? Like the most challenging?
Most challenging this time around. Or did you get to do something that you never did before?
Yeah, doing the rooftop was something that I had never done before. So that was pretty challenging. It wasn't really challenging physically so much as it was challenging mentally. So that was interesting to overcome that kind of fear around doing that particular piece of action.
And Keanu, for you, I feel like every time you come back for any action role, whether it's this or John Wick or anything else, you always try to I think up the ante. And The Matrix was known for being such a groundbreaking thing in the world of stunt choreography. Was there anything sort of new that you tried to throw at this one, or something more like revisiting something from the previous films?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's revisiting. I don't know, when you do something you're familiar with, are you revisiting it? I don't know. Yeah, it was just fun to get back into it. In terms of something new,
it's so hard, I know.
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't have anything kind of super shiny to look at in terms of new. I would just say it's just Matrix action.
This is Matrix action. That's fair. Well, this is actually ranked very high on our most anticipated. Like the Rotten Tomatoes fans have voted it as one of the movies that they're most excited to see. If you could sort of preview for them what they should be most excited that's new this time around, what would you tell them to get ready for? And Carrie-Anne, I'll start with you.
Oh, he's so much better at this than I am.
I don't know. Let's
He's
go.
so
Let's go.
good.
New characters. We have new characters in the Matrix world. We have a love story.
We have great action.
Great action. We have us versus them. We have
Okay.
ideas of humankind and humankind and machines, technology coming together. What is reality? Who are we? What are we doing? And
You see?
so an incredible story that I think can be a part of who we are in our lives. And it's entertaining as heck. It's a crazy, wonderful ride. Buckle up, strap in, and enjoy.
Oh, that is so good. Yeah, no, I'm with it.
Right?
All right. So this is the last question because they're going to get me out of here. And I have to ask it, even though I know you guys aren't probably going to say it. But this maybe alludes to more chapters yet to come. What are your thoughts, Carrie-Anne? Keanu?
Well, I have no knowledge of that, so I'm not really entertaining that. I'm enjoying right where I am right now, celebrating this film.
Okay. Yeah, I knew you weren't going to say anything. Okay, so then I'll do this. I'll just flip it on you, Keanu. What can you tell me about John Wick? I'm just going to ask you about movies that I know you can't answer.
John Wick is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's going to be another Matrix story, but we have one now. I think it's a really cool film for our times and our days.
They taught you good, made you believe their world was all you deserved. But some part of you knew that was a lie. Some part of you remembered what was real.
Well, the first thing I definitely want to start with is just the Matrix on both of you, because both of you are coming into the franchise as new interpretations of previous maybe iterations. So what impact did the Matrix have on you, Yahya, first? And when did you first see it?
I saw it for the first time probably around the time that it came out. I don't recall seeing it in the theater. I was really like an outside kid. I wasn't a big movie kid, but when I did see it, I hadn't forgot about it after that. I remember the big action sequences. I remember the fight in the dojo. I remember Lawrence Fishburne being so damn cool with his Morpheus and the Ali shuffle and the fight scenes and the bending of the spoon. It was just, there was something in it for everybody, and I lapped it all up.
I didn't see it in the theater. I rented it with my friends from Blockbuster Video on VHS. And, and we were all blown away by it. And it really was it started my love affair with the Wachowskis. Then I would see every film that they made after that. And even like all the way up until Sense8, The Matrix started my kind of like obsession with them.
I literally feel like Lana was just like, all right, we're just gonna make this a family reunion and get everyone back together.
Totally.
But then they've done reinterpretations of previous people. So Yahya, you play, let's allude, a version, Morpheus homage. I don't want to get too much into it, but you loved Lawrence's portrayal. How much of that did you use towards this new character, or did you throw that all out and just try to find it new?
No, I think I used some of it. I used as much as I found was useful, but also my character wanted to be different. My character would probably look at that Morpheus and say that Morpheus was very serious. He would probably have a bit of fun, poking fun at at the tone, at how stern he was. And my character wanted to, exist in a different space. He wanted to do the complete opposite and loosen up and to be vibrant with his colors and with his style and with his attitude, in a very 2020 version. But it was always my job to pay homage to the footsteps that I was walking in, and so I borrowed just enough to make sure that I kept the integrity of that character, but also leaving enough space to open up and play and to make it my own version.
Yeah, especially with those suits, but we'll get into that in a minute. Jonathan, your character in the trailer looks like there is a intense parallel to Agent Smith. Let's just say that. So I'm just curious, in some of that, you got to maybe play up things differently. Like the way you played your character this time around, and I'm really trying here. What did you want to play up that was new? Because I feel like he really embraced his camp side, your character.
Absolutely, absolutely. It was clear from the script and from initial conversations with Lana that she wasn't wanting either of us to do an impression of what came before, and that this was kind of a new programming version of what had happened previously. There are certain homages to the original in my character, and I did spend a lot of time watching YouTube clips of some specific YouTube clips of the previous films, and tapping into the intensity of the fighting was a real key in for my character. And then we played. It was a very playful, creative environment with Lana, and we all kind of found it together.
And I will just say this as a bit of a Broadway kid, how much fun was all of your scenes with Neil Patrick Harris? Like, I was just living for every time y'all were together.
Totally. I know. I grew up watching him, admiring him, and it was so cool to act with him.
Yeah. Yahya, you got to have a lot of fun too. Let me just say, boy, the costume department did you right with those suits. But I mean, what was your favorite? Did you guys have conversations? Because it really does, I think, inform the character that we meet versus the character we see, that Neo meets versus the character we meet in the very beginning of the film. Like, the suits are part of his evolution, really.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have feedback about the fashion. In fact, I came in wanting to, when I did bring my my input, it was really pushing it a lot further. I mean, I wanted to come in with my hair dyed red with the cool parts and things like that. And Lana was like, "Nah, we're not gonna quite go that far. Still need to get that bald head about you."
Which you rocked. You look so good with the bald head.
But the fashion was, the fashion was definitely a big part of this character. Like I said, he was stepping into a world where he was trying to figure out how he fit in, and I think one of the first thing that people see when you walk through the door. Or one of the first things is what you're wearing, how you dress yourself, and what you're wearing says about about your mood and how you feel and what you're going after. So he was a character or a person who had probably blended in with the rest of the world for a very long time, and stepping into this new iteration of himself, he wanted to stand out for sure.
When she's 10 feet tall. Priyanka, I'll start with you. What is it like joining the Matrix franchise? And I'll add this one. Who's the most excited to hear you be cast in this one? I think I know.
I think my family was very excited, my team, but more than anything, I was very excited. Why does everybody bypass my excitement? I was psyched.
Fair.
Come on.
You are a vessel. You're a vessel for your family's happiness.
But I was super excited. I think I was most excited because I felt like, it was, I think it's really an honor to be given an opportunity to be part of something that is such a legacy franchise. I mean, I remember being in my late teens when it came out, and I remember it shifting pop culture so viscerally that it was just really cool to have a chance to play with such an incredible ensemble cast, and also have the reprised roles of obviously Carrie-Anne, Keanu, and Jada. And to be able to watch all of that, it was just really cool to immerse myself into something that as a teenager I was really excited about.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. And Jessica, and both of you have been involved with very big movies and franchises before, but this one, I imagine joining it had to feel different, right?
I don't think I don't think I fully grasped it. I don't know. It didn't hit me until afterwards, after we'd filmed it. And then I was like, oh gosh, this film is in the hearts of so many people. The original, like you said, it changed pop culture.
But you were also a baby when the movie came out, the first one.
Yeah, and I mean, I loved it. I was obsessed with it, but I don't think I really went, oh my God, it's The Matrix until after. I think that was self-preservation.
Yeah,
that's probably a good way to be. I mean, your character, we do know that she is one of the people that is on the mission to sort of get Neo from the trailers and find him and figure it out. What do you think, if you asked Bugs, your character, Neo means to her, what would she say?
I think Neo is a symbol of hope. He was the one who started the revolution, and without him, Bugs wouldn't be the woman that she is.
Yeah, and then Priyanka, your character, not to give too much away, folks don't know already, but she is part of the original trilogy. And so where do we find her now that's different?
Well, I can talk about what obviously we know, because in the original trilogy, you see Sati's character, you know, being under the care of the Oracle, and you know there was a foreshadowing about her having some special journey in, you know, some special something in Neo's journey, and also she would bring peace between humans and machines. So all of that foreshadowing existed, and we had left her as a child, and now we find her, you know, waiting for this moment for her whole life and preparing for this moment her whole life, and she intercepts the mission.
This is a little bit easier to navigate because it's always difficult with movies like this with all the CGI and everything. But what was the most fun day to shoot? And they might be different. So Jessica, I'll start with you. What was the best day to shoot, the most fun, the one you want to definitely, you know, snap a mental picture for?
When I auditioned, I had to audition with a scene between Bugs and Neo, and it's quite heartfelt. And because of COVID, we got shut down. So by the time I actually got to film that scene, it had been, 10 months. So the anticipation was high just to get it done, just to do it. And I'd been sitting with those lines for so long. And then at the end of the day, Keanu came over and shook my hand and was like, "You did a great job." And it was, he was so lovely about it.
Oh, that's sweet. And then Priyanka, what about you? What was your favorite day on set?
I was just terrified the whole time, man. I was just like, I want to keep my head above water. I want to come out on the other side.
That's fair.
So, I think this is the most fun moment.
You're like, it's
talking about having done it.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, well, I'll ask this to you, Jessica, because obviously we saw how incredible you are with stunt choreography in Iron Fist. I mean, you're still getting shout outs on your fight and stunt choreography on that. Which one was harder to prepare for? Were they about the same?
In a way, Iron Fist was hard because I wasn't that good. I wasn't good at martial arts, and I hadn't really trained extensively in it, and so that was hard. But I was also younger, and my body was better. And so this time, I had the injuries that I'd picked up over the years from the other projects, and my body was slower. And so I think this time was harder, even though I had trained more. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting to put it. Because I'm thinking my body wouldn't have been up for either of it. So I'm glad that you did both. Priyanka, I'll ask you this. I mean, it hasn't been explicitly said, but I mean, the fact that we're getting a fourth one alludes to the fact that there might be more stories to tell within the Matrix. Would you want to continue on?
Of course, I would love to be a part of, this iconic franchise, but I don't know if there's another one being made. Do you know that? I have no idea. If you find out anything about that, do let us know.
I've had nothing.
The
super
internet
above my pay grade. Like I don't know anything anyway. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Very last one before they get out here, real quick, Jessica. What do you hope audiences take from this new version?
I mean, I hope that they love it. I think it's expanding on the conversations and topics that were so relevant in the first one and have become more relevant now today. But I also think that it's adding a sense of hope and brightness that is kind of necessary right now.